Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 16th, 2018 Jurupa Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Thank you. Now, students, if you would all in the front here, the ones in blue, will you please lead us in the flag salute tonight? Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Okay, next on to our inspirational comment, and that'll be mine tonight. So, in the spirit of technology and innovation, I want to share with you a couple of quotes from Henry Ford. First one, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Now, he was also big on asking others for their opinion, so another quote he had was, is there any one secret of success? It lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from their own. So I wanted to share those both with you so that you know that Henry Ford was an innovator, but he also chose to listen to other folks' input. And so he didn't just make decisions on his own, but he was able to balance the needs of his customers and his employees. So thank you. All right. Mrs. Elzig, do we have reports from closed session?
We do. Thank you. The board voted with a 5-0 vote to appoint Lindsay Connell as the assistant principal at Jurupa Middle School. If you'd stand, Lindsay. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Elzig. Congratulations, Mrs. Connell. You have the full support of the board, and we have confidence in your abilities. Thank you. All right. Any more reports? That was it, right? Okay. First item, welcome 2017-2018 student board members. Mr. Duchan.
Thank you, President Carr. We are always pleased and privileged to have you with us tonight and have your reports from the schools. So let's start with Natalie Zepeda from Jurupa Valley High School.
Good evening, President Garcia, members of the board, Mr. Duchan, and Cabinet. This past month has been very busy for us Jaguars. We recently had our last spring prep rally on April 7th. It went very well, and the students enjoyed recognizing our spring sports and all of the performers. Next week, we are appreciating our teachers and staff. We have numerous activities and gifts planned for them for the entire week. Prom is next week on April 27th at 7 p.m. at the Richard Nixon Library. The theme is the Garden of Love. We are very excited and can't wait for the day to approach. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Natalie. Austin Vanover from Patriot High School. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. This week is buzzing over at PHS. This Friday is prom, and everyone is pretty excited. The venue is at the Central Park in Rancho Cucamonga, and the theme is A Night of 1,000 Stars. So everyone is leaving early to get ready at 12:13 on Friday for the big night. On top of that, last week has been chock full of testing. Last week on Tuesday and Wednesday, students came in at 7:10 to take their CASP tests while everyone else got to come in at 10:25. Tomorrow and Wednesday, more tests will be taking place, similar to last week. All in all, lots of excitement at Patriot. Also coming up this next week, is our spring blood drive, and we hope that this blood drive will be our biggest one yet. Other than that, there is not much else going on in the coming weeks, and thank you for your time. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Austin. And tonight from Rubidoux High School, if you can't tell, she happens to have the Rubidoux sweatshirt on, is Jasmine Leva. Welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you. Good evening, board. The year is coming to a close, and as our Falcon students push to the end of the year with a positive note. Things have been busy at Rubidoux High School. We had 6 Rubidoux representatives recently attend the State and Castle Conference, where we attend leadership workshops, worked with other schools, and received an award for outstanding leadership program for the fifth year. Coming up as our campus, we have spring sports continue to do well. We have several activities coming up. May 1st, we have our final blood drive for the year. We have Inspire Week, the first week of May, with an extended lunch for the student and staff, extended for activities. This Friday, we have Meme Day, where students are expected to dress up as their favorite meme and will receive ice cream and 5-star points. We also have our final rally on May 4th. Our final rally theme has come up to cultural events for the year. Our theme is proud to be part of this family and will be based on the Disney cartoon Coco. We feature folklorico dancers from our school as well as our students who play in a mariachi band. At noon that day, we will have a school-wide Cinco de Mayo celebration with dancing in the entire school. That evening, Spanish Con will host their Cinco de Mayo festival for the entire community. We are currently through our ASB elections as officers, and we are planning a leadership academy to be held in June on the summer. It is an open invitation to all ASB leadership students from 2018 to 2019 school year. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. On to item number 2, recognition. 2A, recognize best of the best winners for 2017-2018 Employee Recognition Program. Mr. Brooks.
Well, good evening, President Garcia, trustees, Mr. Duchamp. Throughout this school year, we have celebrated Jurupa's Best of the Best, which is an opportunity that you all know that we like to take to recognize some of the incredible work that is performed by district employees, including our very talented teachers, our outstanding classified staff, and our excellent confidential management and administrative leaders. Our committee takes nominations from around the district and does its best to honor and celebrate the professionals who do so much for the students, families, and staff of our district. So tonight, in keeping with tradition, those identified as the best of the best over the course of this school year are now eligible to win a grand prize. Before we select the winner of that grand prize, if they're here, I would like to invite this year's winners to please stand as I read their names, or kind of wave if they're already standing, as I imagine some are. So first, Sabu Thrower, Computer Support Technician at the Education Center. Frank Valadez, Custodial Specialist in Maintenance and Operations. Nancy Croxton, a teacher at Mission Middle School. Michelle Rodriguez, Special Education Teacher at Patriot. Lisette Geraldo, a Healthcare Aide at Mission Middle School. Anna Lizarraga, Translator Clerk Typist at Sunny Slope Elementary. Bertha Romero, who is an Activity Supervisor and an Instructional Aide at Pedley. Heather McIntosh, a teacher at Patriot. Kari Rohr, a Speech and Language Pathologist at Mission Middle School. Susan Tanner, a teacher at Sky Country. Karina Becerra Murillo, who's the Coordinator of Special Education here at the Education Center. Jose Campos, the Director of PICO. Kimberly Corbin, the Principal at Jurupa Valley High School. Jack Brown, a Heating and Air Conditioning Mechanic in Maintenance and Operations. Irene Murguia, the Secretary at Mission Middle School. Ashley Stewart, a bus driver of special students in transportation. Blanca Preciado Diaz, a teacher at Mission Middle. Stella Sloan, a teacher at Jurupa Valley High School. Thomas Warner, a teacher at Ina Arbuckle. Philip Chacon, who is the head custodian at Jurupa Middle School. And finally, Damian Hernandez, who is the principal at Jurupa Middle School. So now, as I mentioned, each of these winners is a finalist eligible for the grand prize, which is a voucher for accommodations for two at the Mission Inn. That's exactly the reaction everybody was supposed to have. That's perfect. Each individual has a name in this basket. Yeah. So Trustee Chart, if you wouldn't mind, would you be willing to do the honors and draw one name? Okay, so the winner, and they do not have to be here. To be clear, they don't have to be here to win. So the winner is Stella Sloan. We'll make sure that Stella receives her grand prize, and we thank all of those whom we've recognized here tonight and throughout this year, and truly all of our employees for the outstanding service they provide to our students, their parents and families, and staff and coworkers throughout the district. Thank you all. Have a very good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks, and congratulations to Ms. Sloan and all the other teachers, as Mr. Brooks said, for your commitment and support for all our students in the district. So next item, 2B, recognize Q Student Powered Showcase participation. Mrs. Ford.
Thank you. Mrs. Veronica Gonzalez is here this evening to present and recognize the students, teachers, and librarian who were selected to participate in the Computer Using Educators Student Powered Showcase, that's a mouthful, held during the Computer Using Educators 2018 conference in Palm Springs on March 17th, 2018. Now I'll turn it over to Mrs. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Paula. Good evening, board. Tonight we are presenting to you some of our students from Rustic Elementary and Mira Loma Middle School. They participated in the Computer Using Educators Student Powered Showcase. That showcase is, like its name, powered by the kids, and so the event comes together to showcase what districts are doing around the state, and this is now a national conference, so now we're seeing more kids from other states as well. So the Student Powered Showcase highlights science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics projects known as STEAM. And tonight we'd like to share with you what our students are doing. So our first teacher is Julia Quinto from Rustic Lane.
Hello, my name is Julia Quinto, a 6th grade teacher at Rustic Lane Elementary. This year I wanted to include STEAM lessons, not as standalone lessons, but as enhancements in student learning throughout lessons woven into the day. The logo turtle was introduced during Code.org week, which was meant for our geometry unit, which fused together the elements of coding and computational thinking and a constructivist approach into learning traditional math standard. I had some enthusiastic girls behind me, however, that pushed me into developing this project deeper and more than what I anticipated for this year. This project is special because it brings a virtual world kids love so much and brings it into the physical world, which makes anything more meaningful for them than when they are done separately. My students first created a visual design using block coding logo turtle program on their Chromebooks. Then they can then translate this block coding language with some minor changes into JavaScript coding language. Then they uploaded their code onto the logo turtle robots that they built that would draw their designs on paper. There was nothing more satisfying for them to see, and for me to see the, something that they wrote, like a simple stream of words and letters and numbers turned into an actual drawing on paper. And so, though it may sound simple, this project has had more failures and not quite right stages and everything in between than the we got it stage. But the girls persevered and saw it through, and were very ecstatic to participate in Q, and I'm very proud of them. And they have a couple of just things to say as they introduce themselves, if that's okay.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Cruz, and today I'm going to be going over what a logo turtle is. So a logo turtle is a programmable robot that is made from a Metro Mini microchip for programming, and then there's a servo that controls the pen, and then motors turn the wheel, and a breadboard and a jumper wire for electrical connection, and a 3D printed parts from our classroom's 3D printer. We had previous experience with the jumper wires and breadboards with our Scribble bots. It was difficult to build the logo turtles because we had to check the whole breadboard. If there was a jumper wire out of place, it would not work accurately. At the end, it was a different type of fun. It was hard fun.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Tavares, and I'm going to be explaining what a logo turtle does. A logo turtle draws shapes by programming the device using a computer. In order to program the turtle, we wrote a code, which was more of a mathematical code. The code commands the logo turtle what to do and where to go by using commands like left, right, and different angles.
Hi, my name is Jade Rhea, and I'm going to explain how the logo turtle works and how to write the codes. The logo turtle is powered by batteries, and it uses motors to power the wheels, and is programmed by using a Metro Mini chip. We wrote different codes to draw different geometric shapes. For example, to write the code for the hectagon, we would have to make the robot go forward for 100 and turn 60 degrees. Then repeat 6 times to get 6 sides and 6 angles. To make it even more complex, we decided to make a repeating shape called the hexagon flower. We used the same hexagon code, but then we added to repeat 10 times by turning 36 degrees. That made the robot turn a full circle in 360 degrees, creating a very even symmetrical shape. The hardest part of was figuring the math that would make the shape the way that we would want it to look. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Delaney Castellan. I'm going to be talking about a showcase that we did. Attending the Q showcase with our logo turtle was a fun experience. We were all nervous because we had to speak with unknown adults and try to teach them about our project. We were able to communicate effectively to explain the logo turtle, and I had to get out of my comfort zone to communicate with others. It was very rewarding.
Thank you. The next one is a library project. It's the first ever library project submitted and accepted into the Q conference, so that makes Jurupa a little extra special in the library project. So our EMCC Elementary Media Center clerk, Elizabeth Macy, she led the project.
Hello. So our project was called Little Bit of Imagination, Little Bit of Innovation. Our students were given the opportunity to tie literature into different STEAM projects that they created. They did an excellent job at showcasing what we do on a bi-weekly basis at our school library. They used their imagination to create their projects and incorporate different areas of STEAM. They used little bits, which are electronic building blocks, to make their projects come to life. They featured 3 books and made a Ferris wheel, a robot, and a maze that the attendees could interact with. I would like to introduce Valeria Contreras, and she'll tell you a little bit more about the project.
Good evening. Being part of Q was an amazing experience. We got to experience learning, creating, and problem solving. At our school, we have an innovation center, which is a mix of library and makerspace. They taught us to be happy when we fail, because when we fail, we can find our error, fix it, and make our creation better. At our innovation center, we learn and create. The Q attendees were impressed and amazed on how we tied the literature to our projects, And we are thankful to having a place like this at our school that challenges us to create and to build these things. Thank you.
I think you might be seeing a theme with projects don't go quite the way you think at first time around. So our next project is from Tanya Coates, also from Rustic Lane, and she'll come in next time.
Hello. This year has brought a lot of unexpected opportunities for my students to learn and publicly display their knowledge about various STEAM topics. At both SEPTA in Pasadena and Q in Palm Springs, they created innovative projects using art and STEM concepts. These students eagerly spent their lunches to learn and prepare for these events. Our project at Q was called Let Us Light Up Your World. It consisted of students helping attendees create virtual backgrounds using a green screen. Then students worked with attendees to print the image and create a fully functional paper circuit. I am proud of what they were able to learn and achieve. They have inspired and motivated me to continue to provide even more enriching experience and opportunities. And Nicholas Del Castillo is going to talk about their experience.
Hello. It was amazing to be there. It was the best. We taught people new things about circuits, and I think they would teach others and teach the world and their children and kids. And they could have choose anyone, but they chose us.
I can't top that. As you can imagine, they were so adorable and they had tons of people around them. Our next project was from Mary Ward. She's from Mira Loma Middle School. She's coming up. Unfortunately, her students weren't able to attend, and they're busy with what middle schoolers are busy with.
Wow, as you just saw, the elementary students from our district were the hit of Q. I mean, they were amazing. And as you can see, we have so many students, so many schools represented, and we're the only district like that. There's like districts that have a pocket, a school with 4 kids or whatever, and we have all of these kids, and I think it's our emphasis on the real world connection for our kids. So I have 5 students that participated, plus one of our alumnus that always comes back and helps us from Jurupa Valley High School, Ana Maria Mejia. She's a wind turbine expert. So she's been at Q with us before as a middle schooler, and so now she came back to help my students. Several of the students could not be here because they're going to the Broadcom Masters meeting at RCOE, which is the National Middle School Science Fair. So these are kids that come in at lunch and after school, and they're passionate about what they've discovered. So their boards and projects are in the alcove in there, so you can, check them out. Several of them are going to the State Science Fair next week. So these are kids that are really excited about, for one thing, cleaning up the ocean, doing medical sorts of things that would lead to something, maybe a high school project. That's where they like to talk to Ana Maria about what the high schoolers are doing. So they really are on the verge of, becoming, Jurupa Valley High School STEAM students, and I'm really, really proud of them. So anyway, the elementary kids, I think it's this is the year for them. I was very impressed with our teachers and students from our Rustic Lane, so I urge you to check them out, talk to them. Thank you.
I just want to thank Paula Ford. She's always supported us in taking the kids to Q. Josh Lewis, he's also helped us get kids there. And their teachers are amazing. Their site administrators are so supportive. You can just feel the love for learning at their schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, and thanks to the teachers and students. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic presentation. And I heard breadboards, servos, programming, mini chips, getting out of your comfort zone, and we really appreciate you, and we're so proud of you for coming out and showing us your projects. I don't know if any one of the board members might have a comment here.
When you, out there in the audience, you could not see the faces on these kids looking at us and talking to us. And we need a camera up here that puts the screen out, because when they start talking about their faces lit up. This is something, and these are little ones. What are you, second grade? Second, yeah. And another thing, I keep reading on Facebook and other places, people say that we don't teach the Pledge of Allegiance in school. Tonight it was proven. Those children yelled, every one of you. Thank you for all of you coming out tonight.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think I and my colleagues up here held back the tears of joy. Oh my goodness, the best, like you said, salute ever that we've heard so far in this board meeting, and led by you students. And I wanted you guys to see around you, all these adults are in this room because of you. We want to support every little thing that you do, and I wanted to say thank you to the teachers who are teaching them also how to be courageous in failing and picking up those fails and trying to do the best that they can the second time around, the third time around, and building that resiliency muscle in them. Thank you so much for doing that work and taking that extra time. I know it takes teachers also a little bit of more extra time besides a classroom to do that and empower them to do so. So thank you so much, everyone.
I'd like to piggyback on what Ms. Ortega said. When Thomas Edison was working on developing the light bulb, he said, "I did not fail. I have discovered 900 ways that don't work." So I want you students to know, I wish I was in second grade again, because what you're doing is incredibly cool, and you have no idea what a future you have in front of you. And thank you very much, students, for the people you are going to become and the things that you are going to do because of the teachers who care about you and love you. Thank you, students.
Any of us that have stepped in front of a board or a formal group of individuals to address, you know that sometimes it's not the most comfortable place in the world to be. These students handle it like champs. We can learn from them how to be comfortable in front of an audience, in front of a microphone, anywhere. I was so impressed by how articulate they were in their eloquence and their manner of explaining everything that they've done. At this young age, to have those abilities and those skills, the world is yours. Take it. It is wonderful to have you here addressing the board today, and thank you for sharing this wonderful experience that you've had with your teachers and the other people that have supported you and helped you. And we look forward to having you back and having you continue success in your life. Congratulations on a job well done.
All right, now before our students leave, I'd like to, maybe the board may take 10 minutes break to go out and say hello to the students and parents. And then there's also some boards over in the lobby foyer over there, so thank you. Let's take 10 minutes. All right, let's get started. Okay. Yeah, it was fantastic though. Those students are so amazing. All right. So item 2C, recognize California Distinguished School. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. I don't think I saw any Camino Real elementary staff members. Are there? If there are, can you stand? No? Okay. Okay, there we go. The CDE recently notified us that one of our schools, Camino Real, was being recognized as a California Distinguished School. The award reflects the school's success in making exceptional gains in implementing academic content and performance standards adopted by the State Board of Education. Camino Real School's success is a direct result of dedicated and talented staff, as well as a supportive community and fabulous students. Camino Real will be presented with this honor at the California School Recognition Program Awards ceremony on May 3rd. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Camino Real. That's fantastic. 2D, recognize Mrs. Sylvia Bottom, WRCASM Elementary School Principal of the Year, Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. I don't think I saw Sylvia here either. Is she? Oh, there she is. So we would like to recognize and congratulate Ms. Sylvia Bottom, Glen Avon Elementary School Principal, for her selection by the Western Riverside County Association of School Managers, or WRACSM, as their 2018 Elementary School Principal of the Year, and she will be recognized at their awards night on April 23rd.
Congratulations, Ms. Bottom. 2E, recognize Dr. Trent Hansen, same organization, Classified Administrator of the Year.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. So Dr. Trenton Hansen has been recognized also by WRACSM, which is the local chapter of AXA, for his contribution and work as the Classified Administrator of the Year. He will also be recognized April 23rd at their awards night. And congratulations, Dr. Hansen.
Congratulations, Dr. Hansen. 2F, Common Sense Certified District and Common Sense Showcase District Recognition. Mrs. Ford.
Common Sense Media, the national nonprofit organization dedicated to helping kids and families navigate the world of digital media and technology, has recognized Jurupa Unified School District as a Common Sense Certified District and a Common Sense Showcase District. So as you can see with what we're doing with technology, it's not a wonder that they recognized us. Common Sense Education is innovative and research-based digital citizenship resources, teaches students, educators, and parents tangible skills related to internet safety, protecting online reputations and personal privacy, managing online relationships, and respecting creative copyright. Common Sense certification is earned when students and teachers have met key benchmarks in completing the digital citizenship lessons and curriculum, and all our teachers have worked very hard to do that along with our library staff. And Common Sense Showcase District achievement requires an in-depth examination of how the district leverages online safety training. As a showcase and certified district, teachers, staff, students, and administration have demonstrated their commitment to preparing our students to use digital media in a positive force, and for it to be a positive force in their lives. Congratulations to our teachers, students, staff, and administrators, and special thanks to the Education Technology Department for providing opportunities for our students to use media and technology.
Thank you, Mrs. Ford. Yeah, that's really great, and I think we saw just a little snippet of that tonight, so thank you to everyone involved with that. Okay, on to number 3, board member comments. Start with you, Mrs. Chard.
Well, I don't want to take too much time. As far as what we've seen tonight, I'm very proud of our students and our teachers at the schools, and it's good to see a lot of you out here in support of each other, as well as your other reasons. And we like to have people at our meetings so that everybody can share in the victories that this district has. These kids are just amazing. If you didn't get a chance to go in and listen to them, you really need to for their ages. They are just very good. I have reports, but I'll do my committee reports later on.
Thank you, Mrs. Chard. Mrs. Bradford.
I'm delighted to see the recognition of all of the students, and for Mrs. Bottoms, Dr. Hansen, and the district students. And the Common Sense Award. And I think about for the best of the best, when I hear that one person is a winner, and it makes me think, no, you're all recipients. I don't like seeing, one person is a winner. They're students who are the winners. So thank you very much to our teachers and the administrators and the people who lead with love and compassion for the kind of results that we are seeing in our very, very little ones and all the way up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradford. Mr. Mendez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to Camino. Not only were you recognized as a blue ribbon school, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago, but now being distinguished also it's recognized as a distinguished California school is really an outstanding achievement for you at the staff and the staff there at your school. So congratulations to everyone at that school. Congratulations, Mr. Trenton and Ms. Bottom, for your awards. Well, they're well earned. I'm sure with your hard work and dedication, what you've accomplished in your respective areas. Common sense is another indicator and another example of the continued programs that go beyond our district and gain recognition from other areas as well too. We continue to provide a variety of forums in which we showcase much of what's happening in our district that's doing wonderful things for our students. And of course, that leads to the Q conference. Boy, that Q conference has come a long way from the Apple II computing days, which was my first conference that I attended at that time. What the kids have achieved just are amazing, and again, it's a sign of good things happening in our district and the commitment of the staff to bring the best out in our students. I'd like to congratulate the new member of our management team here in the district, Ms. Lindsay, as principal at Jurupa Middle School. Congratulations and welcome to our district. And if you had seen the students up here doing the Pledge of Allegiance, oh my God, I mean, their enthusiasm in which they said it, it really is wonderful to see that in them as well too. So congratulations to everyone that got recognized this evening, and continue all of us doing the great things that we do for our students, our families, our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Ms. Ortega.
Yeah, I wanted to also congratulate everyone who was awarded today or recognized. Just being up here and seeing the little faces of future leaders of tomorrow. And I always say, that's our next president, and we here in Jurupa are equipping, our future president and elected officials so that the world can move in the right way, in the best way possible. Two events that we attended this week and in the weekend was the dual immersion biliteracy celebration there with all the students. And man, when we were up on stage, President Garcia and Trustee Mendez, we are handing awards to students who have worked so hard, not only with their studies that there's many classes to take, but also on top of that, learn a different language or acquire a different language and embrace the culture that comes along with that language. It was just beautiful to see, and we're just very proud of all the work that our students are doing, and of course of the teachers taking that time to invest and to empower and encourage, and also obviously the parents. And I'll say that it's in Spanish. If there's si todavía hay padres aquí en el cuarto, les quiero felicitar mucho por el trabajo que hacen con sus estudiantes, y estamos muy orgullosos aquí en el distrito por eso. And lastly, I got to attend the Riverside County Top Scholars Awards for our continuation schools. And that was just a beautiful, intimate with our superintendent, Ducharme. Such an intimate award ceremony for the students who are in continuation school, just to see that they have a lot of what we can call baggage, and them just coming to school every day and giving it their all was just a beautiful thing. And them being recognized as top scholars, we had 2 students from our district being recognized, so it was a really nice event to attend on behalf of the board. And I have a lot of future events, as the board has got invited to a lot of graduations and things like that, but I'll leave that towards our comments in the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Just want to report on a couple things. I had an opportunity last couple of Sundays ago. At the VFW, we honored Ms. Julia Holt from Miraloma Middle School, along with... All right. Fantastic. All right. It was an honor, Ms. Holt, for the VFW members there, for us to honor you with Teacher of the Year, along with the students that were there. So thank you very much for your service. The members really thought that you inspire and patriotism for our students. And so, I mean, that's one of the things we look at the VFW. So thank you again for your service. And kind of threw me off there a little bit, sorry. Also had an opportunity this last Friday. Assemblymember Cervantes toured the Innovation Center at Jurupa Valley High School, and she was amazed. And it was so much more than she expected. And she's going to use that as talking points when she's talking to the governor, or the legislature, or anybody interested in CTE funding. And so she's going to use Jurupa Valley High School as a model, and she's looking forward to the K-8 STEM school. So we're going to invite her back to that so she can see that. And she's got connections at different technology companies such as SpaceX, and so looking for a lot of great things, and she's really excited about that. So excited that when I saw her on Saturday at Patriot High School for the dual immersion Biliteracy Awards, she was still talking about it. And so she was also excited to see the support from all the parents and the teachers there at Patriot High School with those awards. And as Ms. Ortega mentioned, it was quite the event. So thanks to the school district, Martha Gomez, and all the people supporting that program. Really fantastic. And also these things help us get the word out. Even though we've got a new marketing strategy, we're just kicking off. Getting our legislators out there, talking about our programs to the community, helps to market our programs and just show everybody what we have here, as all you great teachers out here know. So we're doing the best we can to get the word out. And finally, I also had an opportunity to visit the adult school on Friday, and got to visit with the principal there and see all the great programs there. And as I say, these programs in the adult school, some of those programs we charge $150, $250 for. Private schools out in the real world can charge as much as $30,000 for those programs. So we're doing a lot for our students, and let's get the word out. And that's about all I have. So I appreciate everybody being here. So we're going to move on to public verbal comments. I have 20 cards here, and we'd like to hear everyone speak. So if we have 3 minutes on the clock, and we'd appreciate you, being respectful to your fellow speakers. And Mrs. Chartier will be kind of prompting you to wrap it up. We don't cut people off, and we want to hear from everyone, and we appreciate you for being here. Okay, so Mrs. Chartier will raise her hand at 30 seconds, and then you'll hear a polite little Academy Award music at the end, so kind of give you the cue. So, okay, first one I have is Miss Sylvia Olguin. Will you please come forward?
I didn't get to hear how long of a break you were taking. How long was your break? Did you call a break for? 10 minutes? I heard a lot of people say 10 minutes. You were timed. It was 30 minutes. That's a matter of disrespect for the people that are here waiting to talk. I mean, they don't want to be here. They have other places to be at. And I'm not really going to get nasty with you, although I can, because that's ridiculous. I have heard many words describing teachers, describing employees of Jurupa, great teachers, smart teachers. Many of them are downright good looking too. But I've heard more praise, more show for this administration than I do for any other unit member. Now you base his pay and their pay on their surrounding districts. That's ridiculous because we have been a declining district for years. 4 years. The superintendent from Corona, 50,000 kids. The superintendent from Riverside, more than 30,000 kids. We are under, and you're looking at the clock, but let me tell you, your clock is off by 3 minutes. So I want my time. And they're getting the amount of money they should be getting paid for the students that they have in their school. Not less than 20,000 kids? But let's see how these board members have praised the unit members. Words are cheap. Darn right, dirt cheap. A 2% raise is an insult, is a slap in the face for what these teachers have been put through with Common Core and PBIS and nothing that's working, but this board doesn't want to hear that. But you need to be reminded that 3 of your seats are up this year. And you know what? This administration, most of them live out of the area. I know Elliot doesn't, and I know he fights for you guys. But most of us live here. And most of us have seen what you've done in 4 years. And most of us heard a lot of promises. Carl Harris said the district was like a pyramid with administration on top, kids in the middle, the rest of us at the bottom. And he was going to change that pyramid. He was going to actually give money to the people that actually work with the kids. He was going to make the kids the main priority, as should be. That's not how it is. Administration gets recommended. Is that it? Is my time up? Would anybody be willing to give up 3 minutes? No? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Holguin. Moving on to the next speaker, Ms. Dawn Brewer. Please come forward.
Good evening. I'm here on a totally different subject tonight with my concerns regarding the Citizens Oversight Committee. I got involved in this issue when I witnessed this board vote to waste $30,000 on a survey to see if the community would support another bond. I told you that night it was a waste, and indeed it turned out to be a waste. I'd like to think that you would have voted differently if you had had all the facts regarding the laws controlling the COC and the condition of your current committee. But you didn't even ask these questions. The superintendent should have told you that your current committee was not complete and was unable to conduct business, but he didn't. And what about the litany of concerns you should have about the COC? For example, when did the committee draw lots to see who would have the original one-year term as required by its bylaws? This would ensure the committee would always have veteran members. Since the terms are 2 years, but for the original 1 year, this board should have been appointing members every year, but your minutes do not reflect you have ever reappointed anyone. If lots were not drawn, all members would have turned out in March of 2017, which means you've been without a legal oversight committee for over a year. How are the members you intend to appoint tonight qualified for the position you will appoint them to? You never advertise for a member who is actively involved in a senior organization, so how would anyone know to apply? Have you verified which senior business or bona fide taxpayer organizations these applicants belong to? Certainly paying dues does not make you an active member in an organization. What position on what PTA board does your parent PTA representative represent? Certainly the public is not privy to this information, are you? Why so secret for a committee whose sole purpose is to be transparent to the public? And why would you ratify actions taken at the COC's December meeting when it is quite probable, that no one in that room was legally appointed to the committee? Why hasn't your auditor brought these problems to your attention? Why would the superintendent recommend you ratify actions from a meeting that was not legally constituted? I researched how other local districts handled their committees and found that those with larger committees, 14 members, did not have trouble getting quorums to conduct business. 7 is a minimum number and does not change the 5 mandatory positions this board is finding hard to fill. These positions can be found in Ed Code 15282. As board members, your job is to make sure the district is being run in the best interest of all stakeholders, teachers, staff, students, taxpayers, and the state of California. When the district passed Measure EE, it was with the express promise by the district and the board to provide, let me finish my thoughts. I'm almost done. To provide an oversight committee. In this regard, you have failed. Are your employees, who you are delegating your authority to, doing right by you by providing you with all the information necessary to make good decisions on all the issues brought before you? Your job is to ask questions, not to follow blindly behind your employees. Please be deliberate in your decisions regarding a legally required committee. I do not need a seat on this committee to be involved, obviously, but there are standards that must be upheld, and while you may delegate your authority, you cannot avoid your responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brewer. Next, I have Elise Dupuy.
Good evening. I'm the grandmother of a first grader at Stone Avenue, and she's in the dual immersion program, which thank you so much for supporting. It's an awesome program, and I wish all of my kids had had the opportunity to go through that. Last year in kindergarten, on 2 separate occasions, she was talked to about her clothing. She came home, and we just made adjustments. I kind of made a mental note about it and didn't have her wear those clothes again. But twice this year, and on last Tuesday was the second time where she came home upset this time, telling me she could no longer wear these clothes. The second time was a pair of shorts, completely appropriate. I conducted a highly unscientific survey on Facebook about it, and over 300 people said no problem. 5 said they were inappropriate. One was a dress, for the dress code for her shoulders, and 4 different times, 4 different people talked to her. Twice last year, twice this year. So this isn't just one teacher or one situation. When I went through all the comments on Facebook, and there were dozens of them, it's a school district issue. It's not a Stone Avenue issue where there is misinformation being given about your very well-written code. I read through the code, which I was not aware of, and it is actually comprehensive and non-gender specific. So thank you also for that. Sorry. The problem is that the incorrect information is being given out. One of the biggest misnomers is that the shorts need to reach the bottom of their fingertips. This is incorrect. Also, what was told to my granddaughter was that her shoulders you couldn't see any of her shoulders. No shoulders at all. That is also not in the code. So you've got a little first grader who's thrown out half of her clothes and is worried about how she's going to be dressed. Part of the other problem is that 5 of her, she and 4 of other students were talked to about their shorts during a heat alert, and none of the boys were talked to. And I find that most interesting. What we have is we have an opportunity here, and what I'm asking for is we're going to be reaching more hot weather coming up, and I feel like we should, this is an opportunity for you to reach out to all the principals who can then disseminate and help our teachers so that they don't get phone calls or meetings, requests for meetings from teachers and grandparents, so they can spend their time in better ways than handling dress code issues. So this is pervasive. It is throughout the school district, and I think that we can help our teachers and not have our students go through this anymore. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Elise, and we'll look into that. So, Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, next I have Nicole Scott.
Hello, Board. I'm here today to touch upon the issue of our agriculture teachers at Jurupa Valley High School. Like I have previously said here, we have gone through 5 agriculture teachers. Next year, from our senior year, we are only going to have 1 agriculture teacher. I was informed today this teacher will only be teaching 3 agriculture classes and 2 Joel classes. The 3 classes she will be teaching will be biology. Being a senior taking biology again is very frustrating. I am currently in 2 science classes this year that I don't need due to having finished all my science credits I needed last year. Since there will be no agriculture classes for seniors next year, I will have to sit through yet another year of biology. If I don't get to take this class since it's biology and directed towards freshmen, what am I supposed to do? This is a large problem because I have a steer currently that needs to be shown and sold in October. If I'm not in an agriculture class, this will not be possible for me to do. This will lead to me losing over $3,000, a catastrophic amount before I even turn 18. I sincerely believe that as a school district, we all need to work together and find real solutions to these problems so our students who are passionate about this program are able to pursue that passion in the classroom this next year. I would also like to add that Jurupa Valley FFA and Rubidoux FFA was just recognized by Jurupa Valley City Council for all our hard work at the Riverside County Fair and National Date Festival. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, next I have Isaac Martin Del Campo.
Hello, I'm Isaac, and this year I'm currently serving as Jurupa Valley's Sentinel, and next year I'll be serving as its president. And as previously stated, I just found out that there will be no classes for seniors in the agriculture program. Now, currently, I have been accepted to numerous conferences, and especially one that I'm very proud of, which is Boys State. And all these different opportunities that I've come to gain is through skills and opportunities that have been given me through the FFA. Now, the FFA gives our students the potential to learn how to public speak, express themselves in different ways to help them not just in their FFA career in high school, but also in their future endeavors. Now, your guys' new motto is learning without limits. And if you truly believe in this motto, why are you imposing limits on the seniors that have so much potential and hard work to put into our program? I am very proud to wear Jurupa Valley on the back of this jacket, until recently. Now I'm currently representing you this Thursday and this Friday at state speaking finals. And I am proud to make it that far. Now, I won't let a simple issue like this stop me from graduating from Jurupa Valley High School. And I will graduate and I will become an alumni of Jurupa Valley. But I might not be proud of being an alumni of this district. Now, I really believe that in order to give full potential and full possibility to the future leaders of our world, you need to reconsider the different decisions that you are taking towards this department. Multiple students have come up to me and told me how this program has truly changed their lives. This program makes leaders and public speakers. We're the most successful program at Jurupa Valley High School. We have been representing you at the county level, the region level, and at the state level. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Okay, next we have Kyle Dayton.
I think Isaac said a lot of things that I was thinking, so I won't spend too much time up here. I am coming up here to ask you guys, I think the biggest problem when it comes to how the district looks at the FFA and how the administration looks at the FFA is they don't understand all that it offers. They think that the FFA, since it stands for Future Farmers of America, it's just cows and plows. But that's not it. It's more science behind it, the science behind it, the genetics behind it, the engineering behind it, and a lot of people aren't seeing that. So in order to solve this, I'm going to invite every single one of you to attend the opening session at California State FFA Leadership Conference, and this year it's in Anaheim. It is this weekend on Sunday, April 22nd, and I do believe it starts at 5 o'clock, but in order to be able to get in, 5 o'clock p.m., in order to get in, we will have to get into contact and get tickets for you guys through Miss Nordstrom. So in order to solve the problem that a lot of the FFA members have been coming up here for the past 3 years about, can be solved by just understanding what the FFA actually does, and a good way to do that is actually attending what over 10,000 FFA members in the state of California are going to. So I really hope you guys consider this and show up to actually see what we are talking about, instead of just seeing 3 or 4 members at every single one of these meetings. Seeing 10,000 FFA members show the love for the blue corduroy jacket that we wear so proudly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Next, we have Shelley Edwards.
Good evening. First, I want to say hello to Nicole Scott, who spoke to you earlier, because she was one of my students in first grade. She's one of the reasons I'm up here. After hearing of the district's offer for a 1% salary increase, make that 2 over the next 2 years, at the expense of increasing K-3 class size, then reading the district's negotiation update last week, I felt compelled to speak before the board tonight. It is unfathomable to me how the district team can even suggest increasing class sizes. I have been teaching for this district for 27 years and have had class sizes ranging from 18 to 32 students. By far, I can attest that 18 to 20 students are the most manageable and beneficial for all involved. Unless you have parent volunteers, bilingual tutors, or intervention teachers available for any length of time besides one teacher in the classroom, it becomes very difficult to meet all the needs and district and state mandates that are put before you within a classroom. I teach first grade, as I stated, and already have multiple levels of ability in my class right now. Many years ago, I taught third grade, where my class size was 32 students, but the ability levels then, especially in reading and writing, spanned from pre-K to 5th grade. This was so frustrating to me that after 6 years, I chose to leave the curriculum that I really enjoyed to go back to first grade, where I hoped to make a difference earlier on and catch those students before they fell too far below grade level. Increasing class size does nothing but hurt kids and frustrate the teacher and the parents. Where is the district promoting its philosophy, doing what is best for our students?
Thank you, Shelley. Next, we have Dale Bugos. Did I get that right, sir? Yeah.
Hello, board. I'm here to talk about the Jurupa Valley High School FFA program. I'm part of the parent support group, and we're concerned about the future of the FFA program at the school. Like Nicole previously said, this year, at the end of this year, we will be losing 2 more of our ag teachers. In the last 3 years, we've lost 5 ag teachers. The teachers that we are losing at the end of this year have motivated our students to build an FFA program at our school, which has a very good reputation. This year, the FFA program has been very successful at the fairs, where our students have shown the animals. They have won numerous showmanship awards. The students on the Parley Pro debate team have also performed very well, bringing back awards, as you can see by the way our students are able to come up here and communicate better than most of us adults. And we have one student running for California State FFA officer position. 2 students are running for the Riverside Region FFA program. Our students have built a lot of school pride in the students. Students are trying to succeed. Learning to accept responsibilities for their actions is of which the main goal of a good high school or any institution should be, to build the self-esteem and just the desire for success that the students have. If you have any questions or any ideas of how us parents can help support the kids and make the FFA program a very good one and continue it strongly, please let us know. Our future is our students, and we should want to support them and reward them for the good work they do, not take away the programs that help them develop into productive adults. Like they said, next year for the seniors there's only going to be like 3 classes, and some of them have to be repeating certain classes, and it isn't really helping them out that much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale. Next, I have Susan Wisner. Weisner? My apologies, Susan.
Hi, I am a math teacher at 8th grade math at Miraloma Middle, and my little thing I'm going to talk about doesn't compare to these, but my concern is the rotating schedule. When I started at Miraloma over 15 years ago, we had a rotating schedule. I think it was 3 years ago. We don't have it anymore. I think it was 3 years ago, 3 or 4, and the reasons why I'm not sure about, but this isn't something I usually do, but I feel very strongly about this because it is better for the students. Math is the most difficult, or at least close to the most difficult class students have, and by the end of the day, 5th, 6th period, they're tired, they're hungry, and the amount of effort that needs to be put forth to do well is hard to come by. When we had a rotating schedule, that the time that they came to class varied. In fact, the other day, we were on block schedule last week because of testing, and I had my 6th period math class, I had it the first period of the day, and I asked them, for the heck of it, I explained what a rotating schedule was, and I asked them, how would you feel about that? Or raise your hand if you think that would have been good. And they all raised their hand, and I said, why? And the reasons they gave was, I think we would do better, and we would pay more attention, and we would just be more alert. So that's my 2 cents. I just wish you would reconsider and at least let us vote. It doesn't cost anything, as far as I know. I think it's free, but it would really help the students. I think it just gives them a different time of day, you know, and middle school is can be rough. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next, I have Jennifer Griffin.
Thank you for taking time to let us approach you about some questions that we have. I basically want to say a ditto of what Sue Weisner just said. I've been in the district 27 years, 24 at Miraloma Middle School, and I love what I do. I'm approaching you to ask you to give some consideration to maybe letting the sites choose whether or not we have rotating schedules, as opposed to just saying, no, we can't do that. I recognize the reason that it was ceased was because we were, I guess we were given instructional coaches, which we're no longer doing. And since we're not using instructional coaches, I would love to have you reconsider letting us make that choice. Like Sue, I had a couple of my boys who saw me
first period of the day who usually have me sixth period, and they're like, "It's so nice to see you, Mrs. G, when I'm not so tired." And I guess my thought is, if it's good for testing, then it must be good for kids every day instead of just when we're testing. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, I've got Lib Cook. Come on up, Lib.
I'd like to thank Superintendent Deshawn and the board members. You guys are education guys. Really appreciate it. And the board members. And I appreciate all the good things you've said about teachers tonight. And I'm a middle school teacher. I teach 7th grade math. And they've said a lot what I want to say, but I'm going to say some things I heard earlier tonight that I want to talk about, and I wrote down my hand because I wasn't planning on speaking. But anyone that thinks more students in a classroom has not taught in a classroom. Anyone that says, anyone that puts in 2 more students or 4 more students in an elementary school class and expect those grades to come up in middle school and high school are out of their mind. Because all you're going to do is be babysitting. Okay, we can't teach the kids all the skills you want us to do and then put more kids in. It's difficult. And all of you who have been teachers understand that. Or all of those who have been administrators at the school sites understand that. We don't, you know what? When a parent says something to a child and it hurts, I'm going to say something I heard, and I don't know who said it, but this hurt me. I heard teachers were selfish for wanting the middle school rotating schedule. Really selfish. All we hear about is our teachers. I mean, about our students. We pay things from our own pocket to buy for our kids, which we don't have to do, but to make our classes better and to give them more of an incentive to do well. And just like they said, it is very difficult when you have kids that come in the afternoon for math, 5th and 6th periods. And you know what? They're 7th graders. They're 11 and 12 years old. Even the 8th graders, 12 and 13 years old. You know what? I haven't seen you guys at my school site. And you know what? And I really would love for you guys to come in. When you guys come in, you come in like a fishbowl. That's what we call it. That's what you guys call it. Please don't do that. Don't come in with 12 teachers, with 12 administrators. Come in with 1 or 2. And I don't care who it is. I know that Mr. Deshawn's been in my classroom, and I think Mr. Garcia's in my classroom, and many of you have. And I appreciate that. But you have to understand, the teachers here, all we want to do is what's best for our students. We're not here for the pay. And then here's another thing. The pay raise of 1% to have more students, that's not a pay raise. You're doing work for that. That's not a pay raise. Someone is doing work to get that. So they're doing more work, so that's not even a pay raise. So what I know that you guys might think it is, and maybe you want to try to get the other teachers to vote for that, it's not going to happen. Another thing about middle school rotation, you talk about a fair and equal education. I'm surprised our district hasn't been sued. Because when you have PE, and you have 0 to 3 periods of PE, 0 first, second, and third, they get their classes. 4th, 5th, and 6th, it gets hot. They have heat alerts. Even when they don't have heat alerts, they have bad air alerts. These kids don't get a fair and equal education. Sylvia, I can't remember her last name, the first speaker, thank you, said something about 4 years, and I thought about it, 4 years. Thank you. In 4 years, I've noticed a decline because of PBS and because of no rotation schedule. I've seen a decline in academics, and I've seen an increase in behavior problems. And I know that the rotation schedule, I'm telling you, I've been in this district 27 years, and I'm telling you that, and I've been in middle school for most of those years, that the rotation schedule is a better way to handle discipline than anything you have. And I appreciate your support. I want to tell you that I'm speaking from my heart. I'm not angry at any of you. I know you guys are trying to do the best jobs you can. But step back into the classroom again. Come visit me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lib. Next, I've got Pam Ogden.
Good evening. I'm wrapping up my 33rd year in the district, and this is the first time I've ever felt compelled to speak before you like this. We need to talk about student discipline. I'm well aware of the trend our state is taking toward discipline. Administration's hands are tied now that they can't suspend for K violations. I understand that. Up until now, it hasn't really affected me. In the 5 years previous to this one, I think I sent 2 kids in total to the office on referrals. But things are changing. The kids are starting to realize that the office really can't do anything to them and literally walk out and go to the office if they're told to do something they don't want to do, like sit in their assigned seat. I think of this year as an anomaly, behavior-wise, because I'm an optimist. But what if it's a trend? What if we have badly behaved kids again next year and the year after that? We really don't have anything in place for that event. PBIS is what we've chosen to address the issue. Great. Then let's do it. Let's implement it correctly. We've built a brand new state-of-the-art STEAM school and updated Mira Loma and Jurupa Valley to keep kids from bleeding to Corona Norco. I get that. But you need to understand that most of the families that choose to transfer their kids are concerned about student behavior more than technology and science. I have a home in Mira Loma, and I talk regularly with my neighbors at length, and I've been really surprised that they're saying that. If PBIS were implemented the way it's supposed to be, I truly believe that, especially if the tiers 2 and 3 kids were receiving the help they need, the entire school climate would improve, I have no doubt. Another important element that would help, I believe, is a rotation schedule. 12 and 13-year-olds are a special breed. Their brains work in strange ways. One thing I've noticed since we stopped rotating is that their brains are in the off position by the end of the day. I spent half my career in elementary school, and I would teach PE and art in that time period, in that time slot. High school, they're already home by then. Teaching 6th period in middle school is like riding a bike with flat tires, constantly pushing and pushing and pushing. That's when most of the behavior problems occur. When we rotated, the kids only had that class at the end of the day, once a week, so we're more bright-eyed and fresh most of the week. It really makes a difference academically and behaviorally. I've loved this district for over 3 decades, and I have faith that you will listen to us and make the changes we have recommended. We're in the trenches. We truly know what we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Next, I have Mr. Clint Bradford.
In the spirit of full disclosure, I need to let you know that I am married happily to one of your trustees. On your desktops is one of a series of 12 photographs that were sent to Earth via amateur radio, on the amateur radio station from the International Space Station last week. The Russian cosmonauts were celebrating Yuri Gagarin's feat of being the first human to enter outer space when his spacecraft completed the one complete orbit of the Earth in 1961. I want you to notice the little white circular logo on the right side below the Russians' amateur call sign, RS-0ISS. The little logo is ARISS, Amateur Radio aboard the International Space Station. We'll come back to that in a second. 5 years ago, our then newly appointed City Council unanimously passed a proclamation declaring it Space Week in Jurupa Valley. The week of educational activities culminated with local high school students interviewing a NASA astronaut. The astronaut was aboard the International Space Station at the time. 12,500 miles an hour, 250 miles above the Earth. We conducted that entire interview with amateur radio. It was 13 months of preparation for a 10-minute conversation. So began the front page, above the fold, color photos in California's 6th largest daily newspaper, the Press Enterprise. We were just praying that Lindsay Lohan didn't go out and get drunk and blast the kids off the first page where they belonged. But what a conversation that was for 12 or 13 minutes. On that Thursday morning, engineer Donald Pettit answered a variety of student-submitted questions about his duties and the effects of weightlessness on the human body. Mr. Deshawn was there. Trustee Bradford was there. More than 200 attendees will never forget Brittany's question. You remember this. Besides missing your family and friends, what has been the biggest adjustment you have made for this mission? Do you remember the response that Donald Pettit gave us from space? Not being able to take a bath for 6 months. After successfully asking 15 questions, Mr. Deshawn was overheard whispering to now Trustee Bradford, "I want this experience for our district." Mr. Deshawn, trustees, Denise, Dr. Hanson, Mr. Dave, Josh, Tammy, Josh, and the rest. I have told NASA about our new STEAM campus. We have been invited to apply for this project and bring this experience to Jurupa Unified School District. The current NASA proposal for projects is the end of this month, but that's for projects for June of 2019. And NASA is kind of finicky. They don't want to give us a project if we don't have a campus completely built. So we're going to have to apply for the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Amateur radio operators on the ground volunteer their equipment, expertise, and time to make these conversations happen. I'm the liaison for this to happen, and let's get this into Del Sol in 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. I'm going to have a tough time here, okay? Dayton, first name, Janella? Okay, so you can give your time to Mr. Martin. Martin Dayton.
Thank you guys for letting me speak again. Unfortunately, I'm up here again on news that I was told about today about the FFA and the what's going to be happening over at Jurupa High School. Currently, Ms. Nordstrom resigned because she was basically threatened by she was going to be told that she was going to be fired because she wasn't a team player. So she ended up resigning her position. So I think that was a little bit of bullying on the part of the administration for this. And this is something that has been happening over there for the last 4 years. The bullying that is happening on campus towards our teachers. Mr. Kantner, Mr. Norwood were bullied, had allegations brought up against them, and they were acquitted.
Their whole goal is to pull somebody up behind them. And there's not a single person on this level here or sitting up there that has not benefited because of a teacher. There's not a CEO in any company that has not benefited because of a teacher. And teachers need respect. And they're not getting it. They're not getting the support. They're not getting the respect from the students. They're not getting the respect from the administration because they need to know that you have their backs because they're not getting it from the parents. When I walked into the classroom with my kids, I told the teachers, treat them just like they're your kids. My kids knew that if they disrespected the teacher, they were going to get it at home. And, you know, some of the teachers, whether it was middle school, elementary school, or high school, you know, I kind of told the teachers, beat them like they were yours. And my kids were afraid. I always took the teacher's side. The kids don't have that now. And the kids are coming to school talking back to the teachers because the parents are not the same now. But the administration have to have the teachers back.
Thank you, Ronelda. Next, I've got Eileen Rydell.
Hello. I'm one of the 4 nurses that serve our school district. I'm fairly new as an employee, but I am an alumni of Jurupa Unified my entire life. Growing up I probably enrolled in 7 schools of my own as a student. The reason I'm here tonight is to introduce myself and share how our nursing role is so vital in this district. We know the board regards the health and safety of our students as their top priority. I've heard you guys mention it at previous board meetings. The safety of a student is the utmost priority. They cannot learn without being safe and healthy. We also, as nurses, don't expect our educators to truly understand the medical needs of students and the intricacies that our students are coming to school with. That's our role, that's our job, is to communicate that to our colleagues. Even when I go back to my colleagues in the hospital and talk with them about our responsibilities, they don't even understand what the school nurse is responsible for, because it's a whole different world here at the school. You're integrating medical information to education and the implications that these students have. Putting into extra laws that are state mandates with regards to orders and the medical needs of students is very important. With only 4 nurses here at the school district, it's extremely difficult to carry out all of those tasks and roles that is expected of us. We do our best, but it's, quite frankly, the student safety is at risk. I think we're only lucky that we get by. Let me get back. I kind of got off track here. We are the supervisor of health at our sites and the medical expert within the district. When we talk about just a small role of our responsibility as a school nurse, take medications for instance, because many people can put that into relation of what we do. Within the school district, we have about 600 medications within our schools. We have 4 nurses who must oversee every single one of those orders. We must review them. We must make sure that we train our staff to carry those out. And unfortunately, errors are made. Errors are made in the hospital with trained professionals who that is their passion. That's what they're registered and licensed to do. And while that's just how our school district has, oh shoot, I better hurry up, has evolved, it's just, these errors are going to be made, and it's up to us to put into those safe, retrain. Going off of that, as far as our other medications, we have life-saving medications that go into triple digits that are not just the daily routines of students. These life-saving medications, we must train personnel to be able to act on when needed, and it's very rare that this occurs. However, when it does occur, they need to be able to do that safely and competently. There was a lot more I was going to go into, but that's okay. We would just like you to understand that we are the medical expert when it comes to medical information. We just ask that you ask us for help and guidance when it comes to the safety of our students and the input that we can provide. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Next, I've got Carolyn Snow.
Good evening. Earlier, we heard from the wonderful students who participated in the Q conference and their teachers. Students who attended the Q conference, they are a prime example of the learning that occurs in the classroom when it is not scripted and we are not handed a lesson plan. These students were provided with meaningful experiences. The educator facilitated inquiry and discovery through the scientific method, and this did not come from a unit of study. Okay. This is the kind of teaching and learning that we advocate for. Teaching that is not scripted, it is not packaged as a one-size-fits-all. It is not a top-down curriculum that we all must follow. We want our students to have learning experiences that enrich their lives and leave them with a lasting impression and with the motivation to stay engaged. lessons that are created by teachers to meet the needs of all of their students and to help them to become productive citizens. When teachers are allowed to create and implement lessons that meet the needs of their individual students in their classroom, that is the kind of learning that takes place within a classroom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carolyn. And the last card I have here is Mr. Paul Swan Van Lent.
Rotating schedule at Mission Middle School when I went there. It was awesome. Awesome for kids. Yeah. And when I taught at Jurupa Middle School for 8 years, it was awesome then too. We know that we all want Jurupa Unified School District to be the best of the best at serving students. I know that every one of us in this room is doing our best for kids. That's you too, right? You're doing your best for kids. We are doing our best for kids. You're doing your best for kids. Everybody in this room. We're doing our best for kids. Please know that my fellow NEA Jurupa members sharing our thoughts and opinions out loud and on signs is not in any way meant as an attack. It is an invitation. We share our thoughts and opinions with you because we know that we all want what is best for our students and that together we can do our best. Thank you, each of you, so much for listening to us with attention and care. We love talking and working together, united, to decide how to best serve our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Got no other speaker cards. Anyone else like to address the board at this time? Okay, we'll move on. As I mentioned last time, Mr. Dayton, if the board decides to address any comments, it'll be at the end during comments. That's it. Oh, those are our rules. So, on to item number 5, administrative reports and written communications. 5A, Williams Settlement, quarterly uniform complaint report summary. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. We had 0 complaints.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. 5B, report on district pesticide use. Dr. Hanson.
Each year, the Maintenance and Operations Department compiles a report on its pesticide use in accordance with the district's integrated pest management policy and the Department of Pesticide Regulations recommended guidelines. A copy of the current annual pesticide use report is included in the backup materials.
Thank you. 5C, nominations for 2019 CSBA President-elect and Vice President. Mr. Duchamp.
Yes, nominations are open. I believe you're on delegate assembly and are probably close to people who may be running. They have to come directly from the board. I did not see a slate included with it. So if there is a slate coming, you could let the rest of your board members know. And I believe one of CSBA's rules is you have to check with the person before you nominate them.
That's correct.
That's the main thing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 5D, other administrative reports and written communications. Mr. Duchamp.
There are none.
Thank you. On to a public hearing session. Item number 1, hold public hearing on initial bargaining proposal to CSEA, Jurupa 392. Mrs. Elzig.
Thank you. As required by law and board policy, the board should conduct a public hearing on the initial bargaining proposal to CSEA, Jurupa 392, for the 18-19 school year. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide an opportunity for the public to express its opinion to the board concerning the initial negotiating proposal. which is included in the supporting documents. The board president should formally open and close the hearing on the proposal.
Okay, I hereby open the initial bargaining proposal for CSEA, Jurupa 392. Are there any comments, any public verbal comments from the audience or anyone? Okay, I will now close the hearing session. Item 2, hold public hearing on initial bargaining proposal from CSEA, Jurupa 392. Mrs. Elzing.
Thank you. And on this, the board, it's the same thing with this. We just need to hold a public hearing to discuss the proposal that will go, that is from CSEA. The twos and the froms. It's from CSEA.
Thank you, Mrs. Elzig. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on the initial bargaining proposal from CSEA, Jurupa 392. Anyone? At this time, I'll take any public verbal comments or written comments. Okay. At this time, I close the public hearing. Item A, approve and adopt routine action items by consent. Before we do that, let's make sure we refresh system here.
So move to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Chard.
Trying to find the item numbers.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ortega. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item B, adopt resolution number 2018/55, appointing members to the Citizens Oversight Committee and approving the amended and restated bylaws thereof. Dr. Hanson.
The district has previously established a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee as required by the authorization of Measure EE General Obligation Bond and state law, and now intends to confirm the appointment of certain members to the committee to fill positions which have recently became vacant. In connection with such appointments, the district board also will adopt amended and restated bylaws of the committee. Administration recommends that the board adopt resolution number 2018/55, resolution appointing members to the Citizens Oversight Committee and approving the amended and restated bylaws thereof. We also have Angelica Valencia from Nixon Peabody Law Firm, who specializes in Citizens Oversight Committees, here to assure the board of this item. And
good evening. As Dr. Hanson said, my name is Angelica Valencia. I'm with Nixon Peabody, and we serve as District Bond Counsel. We just wanted to mention members of my firm had conversations with staff, district staff, with respect to several questions that came up with respect to the applicants and the process of appointment, and I can confirm that the process that was described to us and generally the applicants that submitted for membership onto the Citizens Oversight Committee satisfy the legal requirements that are set forth in the California Education Code. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia. All right. Move for approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mendez. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's call for the vote, please.
I do a brief comment. I just became a member of the School Facilities Committee as one of the percentage of the board member, and it was explained to us clearly that all the elements that are required to fulfill the obligations and the operations of this committee have been followed. Correct? including the appointment of new members and the maintenance of the quorum for meetings and all those other elements. Is that correct? Anything that I'm missing that was significant at the meeting that has been questioned that we can answer? Thank you, sir.
Thank you again, Ms. Valencia, for being here and explaining that to us. Thank you.
Well, one more comment. The board takes these matters very seriously, and that's why when we do have concerns that are raised, regardless of who brings them as a citizen and or anybody else, we welcome them because we definitely do not want to do anything that by any means is illegal in this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Yeah, I think we called for a vote. Let's call for the vote. Okay, motion carries 4-0-1. Okay, next item. Item C, adopt resolution number 2018/58 in support of designating licensee to Head Start, California State, and Title I preschool programs. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. This resolution comes as a result of our hiring Katrina Brooks to lead our early childhood education. So it designates Rosa Santos Lee, Director of Elementary Education, and Katrina Brooks to enter into business on behalf of the district with the CDE Department of Social Services Community Care Licensing Division.
Thank you. Move for approval.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. I made the motion actually.
Okay.
So Ms. Ortega, second.
Second, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's call for the vote. Motion carries 5-0. Item D, adopt resolution number 2018/59 and resolution number 2018/60, employee recognition. Mr. DeShawn.
Thank you, President Garcia. May 6th through 12th, 2018 is National Teacher Appreciation Week, and the board is recognizing it with resolution number 2018-59. Classified School Employee Week is May 20th through 26th, 2018, and the board is recognizing it with resolution number 2018-60. And I just want to reiterate again that we have the best, absolutely. So,
thank you, Mr. DeShawn.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Mendez.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Chard. Any questions or comments? All right, I just have to say that I agree, Mr. DeShawn, that we have the best staff, teachers, and we appreciate them. Looking forward to celebrating those weeks. All right, let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item E, adopt proclamation honoring Assembly Member Jose Medina. Mr. DeShawn.
thank you again, President Garcia. Well, I want to start out by saying that Assemblymember Medina has quite a history in this district. He started out teaching here, raised his children here, served on the RCC board, which served this district, and at one time, I guess he never actually represented us, but he kind of does. because he takes up our cause at any and every opportunity he has, and he serves kind of like, not that we're not excellently represented by Assemblywoman Sabrina Cervantes, but Mr. Medina is right there with her. So it's kind of with a whole lot of pleasure I bring this to you. I believe you're going to the May 10th recognition. Mr. Medina is being recognized by the Riverside District of the California Inland Empire Council as their Distinguished Citizen of the Year, and the board has a proclamation that will be framed and you can take with you.
Absolutely. Be my pleasure.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Mendez,
Second.
second by Mrs. Chard. Any questions or comments?
I'd like to second Mr. Deshawn's comments. I've known Mr. Medina. He lived in the area. Obviously, he was a neighbor right around the corner from me for many years. And periodically would run into him at the Capitol when we would have our California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly, and he would attend some of our functions and we would attend some of theirs. Always extremely supportive of education. Obviously, all the years that he spent in this field, he's very knowledgeable and continues to stay updated. When the passage came through with the local control funding formula, it was right there for us, and just many other major issues has always been there for us. So this is a great opportunity to honor what he has accomplished in regard to educating students, not only in our district, but throughout our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Any other questions, comments? Okay, let's call for the vote, please. All right, motion carries 5-0. Item F, approved personnel matters. F1, approve initial bargaining proposal from CSEA Jurupa 392. Mrs. Elzig.
Thank you. During the board meeting on April 2nd, 2018, the board received and reviewed the initial bargaining proposal from CSEA Jurupa 392. Following the public hearing this evening, administration recommends that the board approve the initial bargaining proposal from CSEA Jurupa 392 as printed in the supporting documents as a basis for negotiations.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Chard,
Second.
second by Ms. Ortega. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. F2, approve initial bargaining proposal to CSEA 392. Mrs. Elzig.
Thank you. Again, during the board meeting on April 2nd, 2018, the board received and reviewed the initial bargaining proposal for CSEA Jurupa 392. Following the public hearing this evening, administration recommends that the board approve the initial bargaining proposal to CSEA 392 as printed in the supporting docs as a basis for negotiations.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Chard,
Second.
second by Ms. Ortega. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, last item. Item G, board member committee reports or comments. Ms. Ortega, let's start with you.
Thank you. Just a few and events that we're attending that by the end of the month, early May. Tomorrow, for the first time, we'll have the CTE committee, so I'm looking forward to that. And the more that we speak on behalf of CTE, the more that there is to learn. So I'm really excited to sit on that committee. And tomorrow is the first one. And then future events, looking forward to National Bus Day. I haven't attended one, and I hear a lot of wonderful things about that event, so I'm excited to attend. And then the art awards for Ramona Sanchez class and some of the elementary students will be presenting a lot of their artwork in the art museum Wednesday, I believe it is. So it's this week, and we'll be attending to that. Last year we attended, President Garcia and I attended. It was really beautiful to see, and they really showcase and they get to speak a little bit too. And then the best awards at the end of the month, the spring conference for Riverside County CSBA, and then, of course, the graduations that are right around the corner. So we're looking forward to all those. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Mr. Mendez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to actually begin by making a couple of comments. One in regard to the dual immersion programs that we did have the opportunity to visit this past Saturday. Basically, I'd like to commend the staff, teachers, administration, volunteers, parents. A whole team came together to just make it an outstanding event. Participation and attendance was bigger than ever. A number of the California Seal of Literacy by Literacy was given to more students than ever before. The program has been growing over the years, and so it's just wonderful to see that kind of success for our students in our district. The second comment is just, again, a brief comment in relation to our ag program. I made the comment, and I think a couple of the other board members did as well, too, that we truly do listen to people's comments, and we do really take their concerns into consideration, and we do really look into those concerns. And we get reports on a regular basis in terms of anything that's out there that we need to be aware of. With that being said, just like maybe administration, we are in a position where if it comes down to personnel items, we cannot disclose anything that's private, personal, or against any legal requirement that we need to abide by to disclose to anyone. Otherwise, we would be liable to lawsuits and all kinds of other things. And so that would be totally inappropriate for us to talk about personnel issues in any forum, whether here or on a school site at any time. And so with that, we will continue to take that into consideration. But again, when they address the fact that there's been a number of turnover in teachers, there's a variety of reasons as to why those things can happen. And like I said, some of those we just can't disclose for privacy issues and to protect the rights of everyone that's concerned. So I just wanted to make sure that people understood that and not that just we're ignoring the situation. Another brief comment, just like any other thing in education, times change, and agriculture, the agricultural business in this world has been transformed by technology and many other factors that I don't even am fully aware of. And so when we take a look at affording our students our best opportunities, then we need to take all those factors into consideration as well. In the same manner, I'd like to recognize the value of the ag program over the years. In our district specifically, we have had a tremendous amount of success at the fairs, and you look at these students coming before us. They are articulate. They are well poised. They are confident. They do have leadership skills. We've seen them over the years. We're not arguing with any of that. None of us are. But the fact that, like I said, times change, and things that are of any thing that would violate anybody's privacy or legal rights, we're not going to, again, be involved in doing. I hope I've said enough on that. Now, I really actually wanted to just make a brief comment in terms of the Facilities Committee. As I mentioned, I was given the responsibility to be a representative on that committee on the part of the board. And that committee continues to do incredible things with the team that Dr. Hansen has to continue the modernization projects, making appropriate expenditures and maximizing the funding that we have available to continue to modernize our facilities, to bring new infrastructure, to bring new resources to help our educational system do a better job of educating our students, putting better resources in the hands of our administrators and teachers and students. And the way they manage their energy system and everything, it's so efficient. You would be amazed at how incredible and how smooth everything runs in this district and how much they maximize the few dollars that sometimes we get to spend in our district. It's just incredible how they track everything. The facility, the energy management program in particular, I mean, you take a look at this amount of data that they look at and refine and to make changes. It's absolutely amazing. I was awed. And I think I'll close with that. It's just wonderful. I can't say enough for this district. We just have an awesome district, and it's always good to be a part of it. I've been in this business for too many years, and this is going to be a better opportunity for me to find myself in today. I did have one or two comments in terms of, I guess, some personal things. I was a middle school teacher. One of the speakers said that some of us who have not been in middle school classrooms. I was in the middle school classroom as a teacher for 4 years, so I know what teaching middle school is like. I didn't have a rotating schedule. I happened to do fine, and my students thrived, and I thrived. My parents had a great time. They didn't complain, and so it was a wonderful experience. I'll remember that the rest of my life. As a matter of fact, one of my former students, when I was first running for the board, called me, happened to be moving the area. He says, "Mr. Mendez, could you bring one of your signs over to my house?" And I go, "What? This little 12-year-old that I'd seen in the middle school that's calling to support my campaign? You tell me that's not an awesome thing as a teacher." So being a teacher is a great responsibility. An administrator, I've been an administrator too, so I've been around, and I know the system from many perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Mrs. Bradford.
Mrs. Bradford has laryngitis. This is not my, what was the movie, The Shining, where the little guy said red rum? Thank you to Mr. Mendez for talking about the facilities committee. It was only Friday, and I've already forgotten about it, but there was a lot in between, so thank you for covering that. And likewise with Ms. Ortega's CTE, the meeting is tomorrow, and I have to tell you that despite a bachelor's and master's degree, my heart is really in career and technical education because, you know, when nuclear annihilation comes along, it's going to take plumbers and electricians to get our world back into order. And the little munchkins that I just wanted to pick up and kiss and cuddle, you know, who are our scientists right now. And finally, I believe Assembly Member Sabrina Cervantes was a field representative to Jose Medina. Okay, I saw her a week ago, and I think it's important for us to stay in front of our lawmakers for what's called in a marketing term top of the mind awareness, that they don't forget that we need money for special education, we need money for our schools, and they need to loosen up money in Sacramento so that we can accomplish what we wish here in our little district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. Mrs. Chard.
Well, one of my committees that I'm on is the DAC committee, and I attended that last week. And they put on a presentation to try and explain to the parents the LCAP and the budget, trying to explain things to them. And parents were really into it. They really had a lot of questions. So I think our parents do understand what's going on in their district. They understand what the need for certain things, and are realizing that we're trying to accomplish them as fast as we can for their students. They did talk a little bit about some of the facilities and the changes that are being made, and we have one more meeting, which it won't be until June, but they're excited about the plan, seeing it before approving it in June. So that will be a big project. I do want to reiterate my colleagues on all the activities that are up. I think during the month of April and May, I have 2 weeks that I am gone every single night because we have so many activities, which is fine, but we also need to encourage everyone in the district to come to some of these. The graduations are really, really nice, and I know you put in a long day, but if you can make a graduation and an awards assembly, these kids that are getting these scholarships, some of them are just, it's amazing what they're getting and where they're going to go, and it looks good. And Mr. Duchamp always comes to the graduations with a list of accomplishments that our students have made, and a lot of them come back and become teachers here because they like it. I spoke to 2 of the girls over there, and I said, well, what is your goal? And they said, oh, we want to be teachers. So we need to get a teacher program now in our schedule. Also, I'm looking forward to the Bus Driver Day, the CTE Showcase that's going to be at Jurupa Valley. We need to go to that, and I invite everyone to go to that because that really does show off what we have accomplished in that area and what the students are accomplishing. That is where they shine mostly. The spring concert too, I go to that every year because I have granddaughters that are in it, and it is outstanding. It's like just being, if you were in a concert hall and just listening to these kids, they do not make mistakes. They are just so good. I mean, it just sounds beautiful. So please try and make some of those things. That makes them feel really proud. And with that, I will say that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Chard. My final comments just have to do with the students. Well, I was going to say this morning. Maybe it feels like it was this morning when we started this meeting, but second graders, the students from Rustic Lane, just amazing. I didn't learn about servos and input circuits and output circuits and the way they were describing them out there until I was in the Navy. And so, I mean, the second graders, sixth graders are talking about this, programming and those types of things. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, in my inspirational comment or comments, times are changing. We're moving forward with technology. I had a student from Patriot ask me a couple weeks ago, they had a printer that they, he thought it was a waste of money, and, he wanted something else. I can't remember what it was. So I encouraged him. I wrote him back a letter, and I said, well, 12 years ago, I thought this iPhone here was a waste of money. And I remember when they first came out, like, who's ever going to use that thing, right? We had a cell phone, and we had computers and stuff. And now, I mean, none of us can live without them. I bet you everyone's got one. And so I just said, you got to embrace new technology. 3D printers, you may have one in your house 2 years from now. In my company where I work, we manufacture components, plastic components and plastic parts. And in order to prototype those things, when we have a change, we either have to build a mold out of steel. If it's not right, we got to rebuild it again, and its costs go up. So the students over at Jurupa Valley High School, great program, Ms. Corbin, Ms. Stevens. And as I said in the beginning, too, that Ms. Cervantes is really excited about that program and that whole pathway. And so she's going to be talking about it every chance she gets. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's about all I have today. Actually, one final thing. Mr. Bradford, thank you for bringing the NASA application stuff to our attention. I think that's fantastic. So thanks for all your work there. And that's all I have for tonight. Mr. Duchamp, any final words?
I just want to say how proud I think all of us are of Camino Real Elementary School. And I'm sorry, but I got to show and tell that some of us got these little cards out there, and they're really neat. I've been playing with it the whole meeting. It is just amazing. It's not only that the students can do these projects, they are just so articulate. And, for years we've been talking about academic language, and I mean, they just mastered it. They have all the technical language to talk about what they're doing, and the computers and the processes. They could answer every question I asked them, so I'm pretty thrilled right now.
Yeah.
Can I have one of them sit by me and just do my comments for me, because it'll be a lot shorter.
It was really, actually, when we went to the tour of Jurupa Valley High School's Innovation Center, the two young ladies that led that tour, I mean, they were so confident in just everything they talked about. And I saw the same confidence this evening with the second graders, sixth graders. So, I mean, that's just amazing how these kids are going to be masters. It's just phenomenal. That's true. Yeah, and actually, I'll make a comment on that too. I just wanted to say about teachers. I do think teachers are important. I mean, I've mentioned it in the past. That teachers impact eternity. I think we came from an inspirational quote a couple months ago, and I've never been a teacher myself, but I have been a parent. And so, what I found most important to me, and when I ran for the school board, it was parent involvement and really strengthening that. And when my students did something they weren't supposed to do, I mean, we were there with the teacher as a partner, as an equal partner. And that's another thing that's slow. Things are slow. These changes happen slow. Our society, I think, for whatever reason, it's gone that direction. But I think Jurupa's making some progress in parent involvement, and that's really important to me because I know it works. It worked with my 3 kids. They all went through this district, and they all graduated with honors, and they're all good citizens, and they're all getting ready to graduate from college. So I know it works. We just got to continue the effort. So thank you all for coming tonight, and we'll see you next time. Meeting adjourned.